Welcome back to the Booktroverts podcast. I'm McKayla.
I'm Meg.
And today's episode, we are talking about Brimstone by Callie Hart. This is book 2 in the Fae and Alchemy series. Book 1 is Quicksilver, which you've probably heard of. It took the romantasy world by storm last year, and Brimstone is the new release in the series. And like always, we will be talking about spoilers for this book as well as book 1. So if you've not read them yet, pause, come back. Everything's on the table. Everything in the Kingfisher POVs from book 1 if we need to pull from. So that is my warning. And now I'll give it to Meg to give us a summary of the book.
Yeah. All right. So Sarah's Fane doesn't want power. The very last thing she needs is her name whispered on an entire court's lips. But now that she's been crowned Queen of the Blood Court, she's discovering that a queen's life is not her own. A heavy weight rests upon her shoulders. Her ward and her brother need her back in her homeland, but the changes that have strengthened Cerys have also made her weak. Born under blazing suns, Cerys will surely die if she makes her way home through the Quicksilver, which means that once again, she must send someone else in her stead. Keep your mouth shut, stick to the shadows, and for the love of all 7 gods, do not crack any jokes. Kingfisher of Agen Gate has defeated armies and survived all manners of horror, but traveling back to Silvara with Carrion Swift might just be the death of him. The male will just not shut up. Hidden dangers await them down the narrow alleyways of the Silver City. Unfolding secrets pose impossible threats. Fisher must wrangle the smuggler and accomplish his goals quickly if he wants to see his mate again. A darkness falls across Uvalia. The realm and their friends are in danger. Together, Cerys and Fisher will pass through fire and brimstone to save them. I cannot read that without laughing because of the fact of just their adventure into Zilvarin.
So good.
And I know we could talk about it later, but it's just literally, I read that again earlier today. I could not stop laughing. It's so good.
They were a good duo.
Such a good duo. I didn't know I needed that.
What did you end up rating this one?
So I actually went higher, and I think when I did the reread of Quicksilver, I ended up rethinking it and giving it a 4.5. So I did the same for this one. I thought it was a really good pace to it. I loved the 2 journeys because even though we were a little bit worried that, they'd be separated for a while, was that going to be the whole book? What was going on? Actually worked out really well. And I just have to call out the fact of the dream sex in the cabin. Like, that was such an unexpected thing that I think totally changed the fact that they were separated but then together. So it made the book a little bit better in terms of they were able to still connect, talk about what was going on, and then move on. So I just had to call that out of, I don't know, it was really well done.
I feel like that also made me okay with, like, because I thought they were going to end up being in Silvarin longer than the 3 days. So I was like, this will make me feel better because they can still touch base, like you said, and we'll still get interaction with them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I ended up giving it a 4. Honestly, I had a weird experience finishing the book where, like, I think maybe because reading has been taking me a long time. It's taking me forever to get through books. So I feel like I took a long time to read the book, which I didn't like. So by the time I got to the end, I was like, I don't even know what to process. Like, I'm processing the book. I have no clue what to rate it. So I went with 4 because that was like what I had rated Quicksilver, and I felt like they were on par with each other for me.
Yeah.
If I do another reread, I might add a decimal point here or there. The only thing, I agree with all of your comments about, like, the dual journey. I really liked that. Loved, like, kind of the cliffhanger ending and that twist that we got at the end. But the only thing I felt like it needed a little bit more of was tension from the kings and the queens, like Bellican, Madra. Like, they were there, and we did have a couple interactions with them, but, like, Madra, we didn't even, like, really see her. It was just, like, her feeders that were coming in, and I just, because I'm assuming we're building to a showdown with them, and I just wish we got a little bit more of pressure from them. I feel like that would add to the story rather than, like, the pressure from, like, the Lords of Midnight from the Blood Court.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that until you said it, but truly, I mean, there's supposed to be this huge thing that we're supposed to be facing off with, and we got Bellicon towards the end, the very end, really. I thought it was going to be a lot longer at that point when we saw him, but really good point. That definitely
Yeah, and it also, I just in the reread of Quicksilver, and that whole part with like the maze at the end, they're so prominent, the three of them, and we lose Malcolm. So I thought they would come into play a little bit more, but it felt like it was a lot of focus on establishing the politics within the Blood Court, which was fine. And it just, I don't know, like I keep going back and forth. I think this story is 3 books, but then there's going to be 2 like spin-offs of other characters. So I don't know, if it was a 5-book series, I'm like, this is a perfect book too for a 5-book series if it's going to follow this kind of same through line. But if it's only going to be 3 books, I was waiting for like at least the second half. I was expecting a little bit more of those characters, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, even down to the fact that when they were in Sylvarin, I really thought they were going to interact with Madra at that point. I thought she was going to confront them. Maybe they didn't defeat her, but, you know, something happened where they escaped or whatever. But it wasn't. It was just the guards. And, I mean, that was entertaining in itself. But, yeah, I think I would have liked if she actually made an appearance and then gave us some, I don't want to say insight, but, you know, an Easter egg of sorts that once we read the 3rd book, we'd say, oh, my God, she literally told us something important. So that would have been really cool. Like, I don't know. What's going to happen in the 3rd one? Do we automatically just go and see them? Or is it going to be,
clue.
You know, I
have no clue. Also, like, just having to do the rescue mission with Hayden. He's not my favorite character, so that part of it, I liked the journey part, but like the result of it, I could do without him. But yeah, 4.
Agreed.
But a very enjoyable 4. I liked it a lot. Okay, let's jump into some questions. So, talking about the journey, we get to see the dynamic between Kingfisher and Carrion. And it's been a major shift in the book. They're often balancing tension with humor. So what was your favorite scene with the 2 of them? And how did you feel like their time together deepened your understanding of Kingfisher as a character?
Yeah, so we get a totally different side of him because obviously he's a broody person, grumpy at times, and Saris is the only one who really brings a lot of his light out. But really, I just think that the demon scene with the scorpion and specifically after when they're just hardcore hallucinating and they're just laughing on the floor, pretty much trying not to die from the poison and everything, I could not stop laughing at that. And I don't know, Carrion's a psycho with how crazy he is with things.
I love him. I liked that demon trap scene too from start to finish, but I really liked it. One, it was just humorous that like they just approached it so differently. Like Kingfisher knew exactly what it was. Carrion was just like going for things and trusting everyone. But I felt like it was like the first time Kingfisher had to work with and trust someone outside of his immediate group. And I liked that dynamic. I felt like that really was like a good building block for their friendship, and also them having a conversation of like, do you love her? And he's like, well, no, yes. Honestly, I've been burned. I just don't have time for love. I just thought that was funny. They just kind of got it on the table, and yeah, it was good.
I think it was really good for them. And also, I really think Fisher was so hung up on the fact that she was with Carrion at one point. And even though she literally has said many, many times, it was once, it is not anything special. You know, I think for Fisher, it was a closing for him of, okay, we're good. I'm with this person. Because really, they've only been together for a few weeks, maybe a month and a half or something like that. Because the first book was longer. This one was obviously probably just a full week tops in terms of time. But I mean, I just even think too with Fisher's character, you had mentioned a good point about the fact that this is the first person he had to trust outside of his group. And I don't know how to say his group of the wolves, but this must be how he was even with Lorith, was that random person that he had to start trusting. And are you going to have my back when we're in a difficult situation? And I think Carrion did have that, even though I think he was on all fours because he got stuck literally in the trap. But good to know that he still was there, you know, if Fisher did need something. But I think it slowly is bringing Fisher back into the now instead of being in the maze, because that maze had him for years. I mean, it's tough to get out of that mentality.
Yeah. It's just, and I loved how also programming note, I will be calling him Kingfisher or Fisher. I am not on board with that name they gave him.
I don't hate the name, but it
doesn't feel like
the shift. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kingfisher feels right.
Mm-hmm. It feels right. So I'm going with that. I loved how Fisher would keep mentioning in his POV and dialogue, which I also love that there was like it was very much a dual POV book, which and not just like it's Sarah's and a couple little POVs from Fisher. Like it was, I felt like it was a really good balance between the two of them. But I loved how Fisher would reference the fact that Carrion, if he had grown up in the world he was supposed to, like he would be just as important as Fisher. And then even mentioning, I can't remember the friend's name, but like it's funny that the two of them would have literally been like together, like a duo together, because that family was like sworn to protect Carrion's family. And I just thought that was so interesting, like how he kept referencing the dynamic. And I think it was almost a way of him starting to gain respect for Carrion, of like, oh, I guess he has this thing with Saris, and I hate that because she's my mate, but like he really is this prominent figure, and like we should be treating him with more respect, because like if he had grown up here, he would have risen through these ranks.
Yeah, I mean, I think I forget where it was in the point of the story, but there's a point where Carrion literally had tried to speak up and say, this is important, I need you to see this, and everyone just thinks he's the jokester. And yes, he is in terms of how he's been in the story for us, but he does have very good points. And I think Fisher started to realize, like you said, oh, okay, we should let him speak and hear what he has to say. And I think even when they reunite with Saris, it's a nope. All right, Carrion, you're coming with us. Like, grab your stuff. You're going. So it's one of those, you're not just leaving him back because he's an extra person. He's actually going to be valuable and give him that place to grow. So I really like it. I think it's a good addition. I really hope he's the bonus books, by the way, the spin-off books.
So I saw that Callie Hart was doing an interview leading up to Brimstone, and she mentioned book 4 could be potentially about Carrion, which I would love. Now, whether that is a prequel book going over his 1,000 years stuck in Sylvarin, or if it would be post whatever happens in book 3, I'm not sure, but I love him. I need like a whole series about him. He's so funny.
Yeah.
He cracks me up. Okay, so we obviously have Fisher, Carrion. They're one of the major storylines that we're following in the book. But then we also have Saris's whole journey that she's going through. At the end of the first book, she has been transformed into this fae vampire hybrid, and we find out that she is now becoming queen of the Blood Court because she has killed Malcolm. So it picks up right as like she's going to her coronation, and I just want to spend some time chatting about that. One, how did you feel about like this whole storyline? How did you feel about like she's kind of like struggling throughout the book of like, I'm human, but I'm also this new thing. So what moments do you have that you feel like highlighted that struggle? How successful do you think she's being in kind of navigating through all these new responsibilities? And then we'll chat this first, and then we'll have to talk about Tall, because he's like a whole other dynamic here.
Yeah, he's completely separate. It's interesting because I didn't hate her sections, but really Kingfisher, in my opinion, made that middle section of the book really good, because together they're a very good force of nature. But when they were separated, it was a little bit weird. I have to mention Tal specifically, but I think he carried it a bit more for me with them in the Blood Court, just saying. And even Lorith, I think having him there also helped, because if it was just Saris, I don't think it would have been good. Don't know. But she has such a tough time with keeping her mouth shut. She does not like rules, really just does things, how she wants to, but there's so many politics that she has to figure out. And I think at the beginning it was just tolerating people, but I will say one part that I really enjoyed about her was she started realizing that the lords of the Blood Court, what they each were going to use against her, and how she could use that basically at them. So she basically kind of went back at each of them and put them in their place. And I think that was really good. So she did it in a political way that was still her sassy self, but was able to blend it with her new power, because she is struggling hardcore. And I really think that now that we're, after reading the whole book, I don't think she wants to go back. I think she's okay. Well, I know there's probably not many people that are still there, but I don't want to do this anymore. I would be quite fine if they don't ever see me as a queen again, and I can just, be with my mate and all of that. So it was interesting, but not my favorite. So I don't know if you have different thoughts.
I completely agree. To be honest, I found it a tad boring only because I feel like we did not explore it fully because yes, I totally understand. Like, she does not want this. I don't think she knew the consequences of like, oh, you're going to kill him. You have to do this. I don't think she would have if she knew that was the outcome. It's very obvious. She does not want to be there. She does not want to conform to what they're doing. But at some point, I was like waiting for her to almost hit like the acceptance part of like, oh, I'm here. Maybe I should try and integrate and like find some way. And she just never got there. I feel like her more exciting parts were when she had gone back to Kalish and was chilling with everyone else. I feel like she was taking every excuse to get out of the blood court, which I get. The thing I liked most, though, that she did when she was there was like right at the coronation when she just basically set that tone right away of like, you cannot attack me, you can't hurt me, you can't do any of this, and you can't do any of that to the people that I love. And I feel like that was really harking back to like her humanity, her loyalty to her friends, being very protective of the people around her. So I like that. But I don't know. I'm just like interested to see what's going to happen with her because clearly she has a taste for the blood.
Yeah, she does.
She likes the blood.
Yeah.
Only certain people, though. But yeah, it's like, you know, the vampires at the end, they've all basically been killed or they have this option to revert back. So, like, is she the only vampire now?
I was trying to figure that out if there were vampires that lived in the town that.
Oh, didn't take it. Yeah. So it's like.
So do they rule? Does she still rule them?
I don't know. But then she had a good point. Like, if I take this, like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know. I wish we got a little bit more of the intricacies of what being a vampire is. The blood court, like, she never really left the castle except for that one time she went to the tavern and she got to see what was going on. And I wish like she had done more exploring of like, here's what's going on in here and how I can protect certain people and like, yeah, take like, you know, like those underdogs that are in this area. I feel like I wanted her to like kind of be a champion for them. Now she still has time to do that. Well, I don't know. She's stuck in a different realm, so who knows, but we'll see. We must talk about Tal though, because I was so suspicious of him the whole book until the very end. Now, we kind of hear like in book one that he's on the outs with everyone. Everyone's pissed about what he did. Then when you find out like he literally went for this woman who literally gives two shits about him.
Does not care.
And then I was like, okay. I kind of felt like some of the other like lords when they were like, oh, he turned her because he knew she was going to become the ruler and this is his way to actually rule and she's just like the puppet he's going to do it through. And I was like, that actually checks out. And then I got suspicious when he was trying to break the bond with her because I was like, what? He's not filling her in on like, how do we break the bond? What does it fully mean? What are the implications? Is this normally done? Like, and she just takes everything at face value. Like, she does not question anything, which drives me a little bit nuts about her. She does not ask follow-ups. And I was like, why are you trying to break the bond? I thought it was going to kill her or something so that he could ascend. Once we find out, like, what he actually was planning at the end with the witch, I genuinely think he has so much regret in his life that he just, like, does not know how to fix certain things. And he was just like, I'm just going to do this big, massive gesture because he was ready to take himself out. They're the ones that chose to save him. So I like him now again because I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I was super suspicious of him the entire time. I didn't know why, and I didn't know what he was planning. But he's just such an interesting character. Like you said, he has a lot of regret. Even when he pretty much was taking when he had a bunch of the wine, he had said, tell Everlane I'm sorry. And it was one of those, like, I truly think he realized for the how many years he was a vampire that was not actually what he wanted anymore. And it was easier to die than to potentially go back and be a fae and live in that type of world. I'm really curious what his story is going to be because, again, with it being 3 books, they do have a small group. And she has done a really good job at keeping the side characters kind of side characters where we're not getting too many storylines, but he's one of them. I actually would not be mad about getting more storyline because of how much he did that we could hear about and kind of reflect on how he improves going forward. So like you, he's definitely, I'm a fan of him, but I mean, wow, to pull that off. I mean, he got lucky the fact that he was able to save someone who killed Malcolm, who could ascend to the role. Because at that point, if let's say that Malcolm had died from some whatever other reason, let's just put into place, would one of the lords try to become? Because we learned some of their politics, but we didn't learn all of it. Because like you were saying, she kind of just ran away as much as she could. So we didn't learn too much. I feel like he would have tried to get into that position anyways to do this big situation. But I don't know. So many things about him. He's a planner for sure.
Yes, he is a planner. I feel like maybe in the next book, I'd be very worried if I was him. First of all, he had like that whole like death rune thing attached to him. That was crazy. But I'd be very worried if I was him about people who chose to take the antidote and go back to being Fae, finding out that you are now alive. Because I feel like some of them are coming for vengeance. Because they're going to be like, I think some people liked being a vampire. And they're like, you took that life away from me. I'm now back to being Fae. I've lost friends, probably family members who chose not to do that, didn't want to face what happened. And I think people are going to be hunting him down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember her name and I apologize. Is Zolvana the one that he actually changed for? He forced her to take the antidote that would change her into Fae. And then she dies by her own, basically, people at that point. And a part of me thought they were going to keep her alive for a bit longer to kind of torture him a bit.
Bitch.
But I hated her, so I wasn't mad about that death. I think it's good closure for him personally, because if she was still alive and he was alive, I don't think he would have been happy, because there would have been that weirdness that has been there for God knows how long they've been alive. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Felt like though, like I'm like, was he really in love with her? Which is why he left his marriage or almost marriage to Everlane, or was she able to do some type of compulsion on him, love spell on him that was just like funny to her? I don't know.
I kind of think the second one, maybe with a mix of the first, because I don't think he actually wanted to marry Everlane. I think that was just a setup by politics in the family, all of that jazz. And, you know, let's be real. Ren's the one who probably wants to be with Everlane. I mean, come on. It's pretty obvious in the entire series so far. But, yeah, I feel like it was definitely a trick on her part of, let me entice him to come over here. And then I'm going to torture him for the rest of his life because I don't actually want him. And it's just so, it's more her character.
Yeah. I'd be worried if I was him. And also, like, the amount that they have to give him, because he was carrying the weight of like all of those deaths. I feel like there'll be some type of side effect. I guess we'll have to find out.
I guess so.
Speaking of death, though, I need to do a quick pivot. We need to talk about Onyx.
Oh.
Okay. I texted you this at the beginning of the book after finishing the Quicksilver reread. And I was like, do you think Onyx is like a soul trapped inside of this animal? Because to me, it is crazy. We are spending so much time focusing on this fox. Like, everything this fox does, we have to know. The fox looked at me this way. The fox crossed the room. The fox is in a hole looking for something and is going to bring it back to us. Like, everything the fox says, we know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this fox needs to have some greater purpose than just being a companion. We all love our furry companions, but there's so much emphasis on the freaking fox. And so I was waiting for that the whole time. And yeah, it's very cute that like Kim and Fisher are like building a bond and all that jazz. When the fox died, I was so sad. And I was like, this is terrible, because the fox had already been healed one time and now it was dying. When she wasted her special rune that she was given to save this fox. I was like, I swear to God, this fox is going to be like better. It needs to be some big revelation because, again, yes, I would do anything for my dog, but like you had a one-time use rune that could have helped you so much and you wasted it on this little fox.
Hazrax,
what is the bigger story here?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He literally goes, you don't want to use this to break other things, aka the other men in your group that are oath bound to Belicon. You don't want to break their binding, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know. That would totally horrible on my part. But no, I want to save the fox. Like you said, if I could save my animals from, going when they go, I would. But there has to be some specific reason this fox is alive now. Is it, and I kept questioning him, like, is it Fisher's mom? That'd be weird. Definitely not happening. Then I was thinking, Ren's sister? No, she's in the sword, so not her. So I'm trying to go through everyone else that we know of who it could be, but I have no freaking idea. And I keep trying to figure out, is this someone from a different realm? Is it one of the gods is putting a little play in there? Did Zareth kind of throw in a little more chaos and give her a furry friend? I don't know, but there has to be something like you said. Because if not, and if this is just a furry companion, then we wasted a lot of pages on this thing.
And like almost a whole chapter on the fox being brought back to life and like running down a mountainside because of the fox. I was like, I can't. Like, I'm sorry. There's something more to this fox. I've read a lot of books. Like this feels like a lot of focus on something that is not going, because right now this fox has no power. It's literally just like a furry companion. So I don't know. I feel like the fox is going to be important in the next book. I also thought it was maybe Fisher's mom until she's now in the journal, or the book, I should say. Then I thought it was maybe Fisher's dad, because we never got confirmation if his dad was alive or dead. But I've just kind of been operating under like I think he's dead or he's like lost in a different realm. And then the ending happened. And I was like, well, it's definitely not the dad. So I have no clue who the fox is.
Neither do I. But what was I looking up something? I forget what it was, but it had to do with the book. And I swear that the fox symbol was in something else in their world. That was a specific symbol. Like, fox is a part of something. I might be delusional. Fine. But
and I would like to point out, though, I do not own the physical copy, but I saw people getting the Target edition. I don't know if it's on all of them. And when you take the dust jacket off, the image that is on the actual hardcover book is a gold fox, embossed fox.
Okay, then that means something big.
Exactly. What? I don't know who. I don't know, but I feel like there is a soul in this fox. I don't know if it's another alchemist. I have no clue who's like going to be there to guide her. I don't know. But the fox is going to be important, that she felt the need to waste this rune on.
Yeah.
On him.
I mean, especially because it was cautioned a few times. And we know that Hexraz, however you say his name, I'm so bad, or its name, I don't even know. We were talking about it. We were texting when we finished the book that they're definitely wanting Sarys to do well, even if it's not being said specifically. And again, the fact that it was hey, are you sure you want to do this with a pet? That's where then I worry, okay, is there actually some value to Onyx? Because he seems to see everything, or a lot of stuff. So then I was like, I don't know. Is this actually just because it wants to bring, close to home for many people that would want to save their animal? I don't know. But yeah, because now that you said that the hardcover has a fox on it, there has to be some meaning to foxes in this world.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I didn't do any digging. It's just my gut reaction to it. So if you have any thoughts, let us know. Leave a comment. Yeah. But I mentioned how I thought at one point it was Fisher's dad, because we just didn't really have any other, I guess, information on him. So that was quickly squashed when we get to the end of the book, and they have now gone to hell. They jump through the Quicksilver pool at Ajin Gate. It brings them to hell. Kingfisher tells us that he's already been here before. And basically they're like fighting with the dragon, find out it's the parent of the dragon that Kingfisher killed at the Battle of Agen Gate. So like they've already really disgruntled these people. They get put in these cages upside down, and Kingfisher basically tells these like two little people, please tell our father that I'm here to get my dragon. And so we're like, oh, your father's alive and he's in hell. So this leads us to the theory that Kingfisher is a demigod, all about like what the hell is his actual heritage, birth situation. It was a big twist. So how did you feel about the reveal? How do you feel like this, like looking back now at the story, like you see his choices, the overall conflict of the book, his power level? Like, what are your thoughts on this revelation that Kingfisher's dad is likely a god in hell?
So you would text me and said, when you get to the end of the book, let me know, because I have a TikTok I need to send you and it'll explain a little bit of the last chapter. Because when they reunited, I was trying to figure out where we were going. I thought it was going to be a cliffhanger with Madra at that point. I thought because we already interacted with Belicon, he was going to take a while to regenerate.
Same. I thought the exact same thing. I thought she was there. That's how she's getting her people in. They're going through the pool.
Right. That Belicon had her somewhere in the same place and that she was going to come out and be powerful. Whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad someone else is with me. So when that didn't happen, I go, okay, this is weird. We're in a lull. What's going on? And then we find Ren. And of course, he's at the place that he basically has sworn that he would be a protector for. Makes sense. Don't know why I didn't pick up on that earlier. I thought Belicon had him for the longest time and was doing the Oathbound, and he was kind of forcing these people to attack and everything. So besides that, in the TikTok you sent me, it says go back to chapter 7 of Quicksilver, paragraph 6 or 7 or something like that. And it says Styx, god of shadows. So is that his father? Is his father's name Styx? And was, I don't know, the whole reason why his mother never told him his name, because if Belicon found out that he was somehow related to that god, he would have tried killing him even sooner instead of putting him in a freaking maze.
I think yes on both accounts.
Okay.
And it was such like a quick little line in the first book, and they're just going through all the gods. But then in Brimstone, so many times he says, the shadows are from my dad. The shadows are from my dad. The shadows are from my dad. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it was there. Like, I love it because I never would have pieced this together. But, I love a plot twist when then you can go back and the breadcrumbs were there the whole time.
The entire time, even down to the fact that my father gave them to me, but to use for good. It was different compared to what people see shadows as, that there's things that are scary there. There's things that hidden. Hot take. I don't really know what's going on here, but I don't know how to say Fisher's mother's name, but when she's speaking through Everlane, what is her name? Is it Adina?
Yeah. Adina.
Okay, wow, okay, I got that right. And she says that I can't get Everlane back. She's hidden in the shadows. Is she in Hell Realm? Like, is she being captured there?
I did not connect that. Yeah, I think you're right.
So is Fisher gonna, I don't know, figure something out? Sarah's got her book still. Is she gonna find out from the mother of like?
Did she bring the book with her?
I don't know. She better. That thing better be attached to her.
Because the last thing she read was read on once you complete the trade. There's some trade that has to happen down there. Right. So I hope she has the book.
Right. So does Fisher have to do something to get said dragon to help out with the rot? Like, I think he's going to be sacrificed. And this is where I go back to, I think he's more powerful, because I know this is part of the question, was I do think he's more powerful, and I think there's things that he's not found out about himself unless he's in this realm. I think there's more that's going to come to him from here. And I think Zareth, the god of chaos, did something, and again, I'm going to bring this up 5 billion times, and if nothing comes from it, I'll be pissed. He calls Fisher his champion. Why do I feel like this trade is going to be he has to go into some competition with other gods' champions to then give Saris the brimstone she needs to stop the rot, and then part 3 would be Belicon and Madra as the final thing.
Okay.
I don't
like
know.
that.
I went
The
fucking wild on
only
that one, so
thing-
apologies.
No, I like it. The two things that I had questions on was, did she bring the book? And my other question was, when he goes in, or he's like, I've been here before, he's telling her how he basically was thrown into this Quicksilver pool as a child. Once his mother was dead, his dad was out of the picture. Bellicon threw him in, and they didn't think he was going to survive. And he talks about how he got tortured in the realm. And I was thrown off by that, because I'm like, if your dad is the god of this whole area, and like, I don't know why, I just like always had a impression that like him and his dad had a good relationship. Like, he never speaks poorly of his dad.
I thought the same thing. So
I'm like,
yeah.
so you came to this realm and your dad tortured you and then sent you back? Because he says he was tortured there.
Is it part of their ritual? Was he
I
not
have no
supposed to
clue.
be there yet?
I don't know, clue, but it makes more sense why he tells her, shut up, like, don't say anything, shut up. And then he's over there being so sassy.
I know, that was really funny. Don't say anything for once. Just be quiet.
And then, like, those two guys that he talks to, are those his brothers? I took it as more of, like, brothers in the sense of how Malcolm called everyone in the blood court his children, like, brothers in the sense of, like, we're in this realm together. I don't think they're
Yes.
biological brothers, but who knows?
I mean, yeah. And the fact that his mother purposely stayed back her soul so that she could linger wherever. I feel like, one, she had to know things because obviously she wrote a whole freaking thing for Saris and, you know, whatever. But I feel like we're going to find some even bigger thing that happens about his dad, because like you had said earlier, we never get confirmation his dad died. It's just he brought Carrion through to Sylvarin, and then what, there was nothing about him, because Carrion said, obviously I don't remember, I was a baby, I think he was 1.
Yeah, and that's why I get the impression like his dad isn't a bad guy, like, because he rescued Carrion out, unless he had some deal with Bellicon and Madra to like take over. I have no freaking clue.
No idea.
Going back to your thought on the dragon, I kind of think the same thing, because he specifically says like, I've come to claim my dragon, like that is my right. I don't know what he has to do to claim this dragon, but I'm thinking maybe the dragon fire is what he needs to get rid of the horde and those new feeders. And then I did see someone else post this theory, so this is not an original thought I had, but I think this actually couples well with this one. The dragon would be used to take the feeders out and like kind of like burn the rot that's there from continuing to spread. And then Carrion, if you remember, he has those plants growing like crazy. Like he's plant daddy, like he's got green thumb.
Really is.
And I saw someone say, what if Carrion, his ability is to now go and he can help regrow the land that has been ruined by the rot. So they would have to continue to do teamwork together.
Pause. He also was trying to get Saris to pay attention. When he started talking, they started growing. It's not as if it's just he waters it and magically it's bigger. He just has to speak. Oh, that's a really good one.
I cannot take any credit for that second one. I had seen that on TikTok. I wish I remembered the username. But I was like, oh, the dragon fire must be important if he's going down there specifically to get this said dragon.
Yeah.
And I think that could be like a tag team duo thing.
Yeah. I mean, especially because the entire book it's Brimstone, which if anyone, I think you mentioned when we first started, but the bonus POV chapters from Kingfisher's side are crucial for this book. You need to read them for this book. And the whole thing was about the Brimstone and all of that. So the fact that it basically it was his journey in a way to get to the Brimstone, because he knew the only way to get to it, makes sense now, seeing the whole thing. I don't know. I think he's gonna have to trade himself for the dragon, because I don't see Saris being stuck in the Hell Realm personally. I don't think they'll keep her there.
I don't think he'll let her stay there. I'm thinking the trade, again, kind of along the same lines as you. I think Kingfisher's going to have to trade like his services on behalf of the Hell Realm or something. Like he's going to have to go do something because it seems like they're very much stuck underneath.
Right.
Because if he, I don't know if they can all go through the Quicksilver pools, if that's only him. So maybe they need him to go do some of their bidding up above ground. I don't really know. That's where I thought the trade could be.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's funny because in going into the one about, any predictions and theories and stuff, I didn't have a crazy amount of, I think that this is going to happen. I was just so excited to read it, but also when I finished, I said, now I'm really excited to see how the third one goes because there's a lot of potential and there's a lot of things that we now learned that we don't know. One thing that was interesting though, and I don't know if you picked it up and if I missed it, but does Ren know that he's son of the god of shadows, or potentially just the whoever runs the Hell Realm? Because he kind of seemed like he knew about this and like, oh yeah, he goes through it, good luck, have fun. So
I don't know what he knows, to be honest,
because no one knows his true name. Only Saris now knows it.
Yeah. I mean, Ren must know like what that pool leads to and
right
that he went. I don't know how much Fisher had told his group. I don't know.
I can't wait to learn more about that though. I really cannot. It's gonna be so good.
I was the same way, like how it's like I just don't even have any theories for book 3. Like there's things I'm excited for, but I don't have thoughts of like, oh, this is like where it's gonna happen, connecting pieces. Honestly, because I read the ending and I was like, hold on, I need to digest this. What just happened? Then I saw that thing about like go back to Quicksilver, blah, blah, blah. So I was like just trying to figure out like what did I just read? What was just revealed to me? I didn't really start to piece together anything. I will say though, I'm dying to know what is in the rest of this book for Medina. Because she is so spot on. Like it is happening in exactly the order she wrote. I cannot wait to see what more, and like why are some of them where she's giving her like do this, don't do this, other ones read when this happens, like she's skipping over certain events to not give, like I want to know more.
I will say that was probably the best addition to this book. What for Sarah specifically was Fisher kind of has his own plan, and now knowing that he, is saying I'm gonna go see my father and get my dragon, I think he knew that this was going to happen. So it makes sense with all of his story. And I think we talked about it before of like everything he's done, the choices, it makes sense now. But her having a little guide in a way is really good because she doesn't know anything about this world. She's only been there for a couple months. She's still a novice when it comes to all of the stuff in here. She's a queen of the blood court still. We don't know what's going on, but that was such a good addition, and I can't wait to get more because, like you said, I don't know how much there's going to be and how far do we get. And then it's just all right, figure out the rest on your own.
Yeah. I'm also really curious to see just how far Madra's reach is because they're talking about the gods at one point and they're saying like, they're talking about the rot. This is when Kingfisher gets sent back and like they make a comment that the rot has been taking over multiple realms, not just here. It's taken over other places and the gods have had to pivot, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just so curious, like how far reaching this is. And like, I just feel like Madra's going to be like the ultimate, like, I don't know if she's like a god.
So
I don't know because and like her whole city is designed as a rune. Like, it's crazy.
So whenever we were starting to talk about, they mentioned the circle is the biggest important thing about a rune. And I put it in a comment. I said, isn't Zilvar in a circle? Like that was one of the first things you learned from Saris about the format of it. It wouldn't shock me if she made a rune so powerful that she's able to take down other areas and she wants to be the only one left. And I think it was, I don't know, I saw it on a couple of things on TikTok, but Fantasy Fangirls had mentioned it of, is she potentially an alchemist? Because I know there's 3 types of alchemists. And Malcolm had mentioned that he had an alchemist that he knew in the past, but was disappointed. that person still has not been officially identified, and I feel like they have to be. Even if she doesn't end up being an alchemist and she's just a very powerful person of sorts, she has to be hopping into other realms and saying, just gonna get rid of you all and completely destroy things.
Yeah. And Belican, they said that he got rid of a bunch of alchemists. Maybe she told him to do that because she wants to be the only one, so no one can undo her work. I don't know. Honestly, she is really reminding me of Kyla from Plated Prisoner. Like,
Oh my
just
God.
gives me that energy.
Yes. Yeah.
Just wanting to take over everywhere.
Definitely.
Be the queen bee. I don't know. I also, again, not an original theory or thought for me, but I saw it on TikTok of someone saying when they meet with the god of chaos, he very clearly will say, like, no, I'm the god of chaos and change.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were saying, if this book, because I guess some people were saying that the book felt chaotic, like it kind of bounced around, and they're like, maybe like this whole time, like Callie Hart's been playing with us and it feels so chaotic because this is all the stuff that the god of chaos messed with. And that's why it's kind of bouncing all over. And I was like, oh, I personally didn't feel like it was chaotic, but that would be cool if that was kind of like she was weaving that into the writing style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I know there's been a lot of discourse around like just the book in general. Like there's so many editing mistakes and it's not well written, blah, blah, blah. And like personally, I know she did mention and confirm that there is an editing error in chapter 14. I knew that. I saw that ahead of time and I still breezed right by it and didn't even like if there's a typo. I mean, granted, yes, you think it goes through 1,000,001 editors, but I feel like I had no problem understanding the plot of the book and where we were going.
Yeah. And also, I saw that line and said, wait, I don't think that makes sense for literally the story. And then remember that you had told me about it and said, oh, this is chapter 14. Okay, yeah, whatever, move on. I don't, we're all human. Things happen. Get over it and move on. It's still a really good book. And if you're going to judge it based on that, there's so many other things you could you could complain about. I mean, there's bigger fish to fry than in editing on a book.
Okay, yeah. Like I was like, I feel like you're on the same page as me. Like I didn't feel like it was poorly written or whatever. I felt like the plot was still easy to understand. It definitely felt like a second book in a series to me, where we're having to kind of bridge certain things that are happening. I feel like book 3 is gonna have to be massive though, if that is the last book of this story, and then the other 2 are just gonna be complete different spin-offs, because like we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of how ACOTAR, remember how there was a shorter one in between, and then the big one with the king was kind of it was a bigger story. They're not doing a smaller one in between, so of course it's just going to have to be a bit bigger. And, you know, like you said, this one was a bridge one. It was only a couple days. So things are escalating fast. There's not time to strategize. It's kind of keep moving, which I kind of liked. I was worried we were going to take forever and kind of drag our feet and then just a big bang at the end. So I love the fact that it was go, go, go.
Yeah, I felt like, it moved quick. I like the pacing of it. And I swear, though, if Carrion ends up, like, being in a serious relationship with Danya, is that her name? Or Dana?
I think they call her, I say Dana, but yeah.
If he ends up being in a serious relationship with her, no. She is, I can't.
No, okay. I was trying to figure out who he'd be with. I don't think there's any other female in the group that would work, because
He'll find someone in his realm when he gets, or like his area when he gets to go claim it.
Exactly. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I think it's going to be some person who would have been a childhood friend, but he died. His whole family died and they had to move on. I see Lorith and the witch not getting together, but it would be interesting if they ended up being a thing, just because of, the enemies to lovers thing in my mind. But I was trying to pair people together because I don't see him with anyone else that's in the group.
My favorite Carrion line in the entire book, though, when he's going to meet like his people and they're like, but don't tell them because whatever. And he just goes, I really like your horns. That's what it was. And he was like, they're going to put this in the history books. Like, their heir has returned after thousands of years. And all he said to us was, I really like your horns. He's so
I
funny.
love him. I think it's so good. Oh my god. We actually didn't get the aftermath of that either. We didn't get
I really like your horns. They were like, oh my god, oh my god.
I know, because they were telling him, if you say that you are officially the heir, then it's going to change your life, so don't say anything like that. And then he just whips out that as the saying. Oh my god.
Oh, he's my favorite. I love him so much.
I love Kingfisher and his character. And I mean, the stuff that he says, top notch, written by a woman. But Carrion might be my favorite of this entire series so far.
Yeah,
he's just so funny.
Yeah. I will say, too, I love that in this book, there are true side characters. And it feels like if we are spending a lot of time with them, like they're actually contributing to the story. It's not just like, except for Onyx, because we don't really know what he's contributing other than being a companion. But even I love Adina. Like, she is such a side character and she's not even alive. But the way that they wove the book in, like, she's a crucial character in the book.
Mm-hmm. Well done.
I'm like loving the way it's set up. And then the friend group is really important. But some of the friends weren't as important. So they were like Dana, not really in the book.
Yeah.
Great. Love that for me. Like, I like how they kind of phased people in and out depending on what was going on. It wasn't just like, oh, well, you guys have been introduced to them, so let's throw a scene in with them, even though it's not really important. Like, I much appreciate this.
Mm-hmm. Even Everlene's character, on the fact that she literally is pretty much still in whatever mind thing that's keeping her
like
from
petrified.
waking. But I like how that wasn't the main focus. Yes, it was, okay, this is a serious matter, the fact that she can't wake up and we don't know, but really enjoyed how she kind of was just there, and it wasn't, you know,
she just popped in like that couple, like, handful of scenes we needed her.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, we're good.
And we didn't have to like discuss her the whole time. I like that. The only character like I really want to get the boot is Hayden, because I'm really having a hard time understanding what he's going to contribute. Yes, he's her brother, but we had to do a whole rescue mission to go get him, but you left Elroy behind.
Okay. So this kind of goes into a sacrifice that Saris might have to make, and I was trying to figure out which one it would be. And I think it's going to be more Elroy than anything. Yes, I think Hayden might be a sacrifice, but I don't think it's going to be as impactful, because I don't think anyone actually really likes his character.
No.
So Elroy makes more sense because it's more powerful, you know, it's...
Yeah, and it feels like he'd have more answers for her.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden's not really bringing much to the table. He is dead weight. They're having to literally carry him places. I don't know. I'm curious to see where we go with his character. I guess maybe he's just there just to humanize her, like, and keep that connection to her previous life. I don't know, but he was not my favorite in Quicksilver. Mm-mm. I was fine when they said he was going to work in Third Ward and do his thing.
Yeah, when Carrion's like, I got him set up in a really nice spot, he's fine. And then pretty much he was fine. It was just he obviously couldn't be in his area anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, and then I was trying to think about it. So she's Fae and vampire, but let's take the vampire side out. Or actually, both of them are fine. Her lifespan's crazy amount
she's
longer.
got to watch her brother die anyway.
Right. I mean, I guess that's kind of even how Spark of the Everflame series is in a way.
Yeah.
Like so I don't know if that's again going to be, like you said, the humanizing side of her, to keep her kind of to that, tied to that. I don't know. I
don't like him at all. And then when he came back and he was believing the propaganda about his sister being this traitor to the crown, I'm like, do you know her at all?
Yeah.
And she even got pissed at him. And I was like, pulled your head out of your ass.
Mm-hmm. He definitely had that, I don't want to say entitled, but not really aware of anything. And she kept him very, very sheltered in not telling him the truth about what was going on day to day, what she had to do to get them water and all this stuff. And and I think it was even mentioned from her point of view of, I probably should have given him more information than just let him believe that things were fine, because I mean, come on, it's just very selfish in a way of, well, this is my life and we were fine and I don't know what's going on. But I don't know. If anything, make him just stay as a side character and he's there, or he ends up being better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just don't want him to turn into Digby from Plated Prisoner, where like
No.
we have to like work him into a scene, and it's like, no, the reader doesn't want him there. No one in this group wants him there except for Sayers.
Yeah.
I don't even think Kingfisher likes him.
No, I think he's just tolerating him because it's her brother, you know. It's yeah. I don't know.
That's all the thoughts I have, though. Did you have anything else?
I didn't have anything else, actually. That was
perfect. Okay.
All right. So we have a while to wait for the third book on this one. So we obviously cannot continue.
Yeah, November of 2026.
Yeah. I mean, it'll go by quick, but, you know, we'll just have to wait a little bit. So, yeah. So next up, we are going to be switching gears and going back to Harry Potter and reading Prisoner of Azkaban, which is the third in the series. So I know we were reading the book and also watching the movie and kind of going between the differences and chatting about that. And this one, I think, starts to get a little bit more. We know the fourth one has a lot more differences and everything, but I'm excited to get to the longer books and kind of see those differences. For more things Booktovert, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Fable Book Club at Booktoverts Pod, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.